Wooly and Fang. Wooly and Fang. Focus question. What is Earth like when Wooly and Fang are born? How do these conditions affect Wooly and Fang's lives? Millions of years ago, the Earth was always warm. All creatures, dinosaurs, and others that roamed the Earth enjoyed good lives. And then the Earth became bitterly cold. Lakes and rivers froze solid. The snow began to fall and became too deep that it compacted, turning into massive frozen mountains called glaciers. These glaciers continued to grow and grow, and soon the Earth was nearly completely covered in ice. In winter's chill, like no other, wrapped the Earth in an icy wonder. Crystalline, crystalline snow blanketed the Earth. It was like a white rose, beautiful but with bitterly long, cold throats. It was the coming of the Ice Age. The dinosaurs and other creatures were unable to survive the sharp throes of the Age, but some creatures did survive. There were great bears with thick layers of fat and heavy coats of fur. There were woolly mammoths, elephant-like creatures covered in long, thick hair. Their tusks were long and curved, well suited to move chunks of ice and snow as they searched for grasses beneath the frozen snow and ice. Here, too, were the mighty saber-toothed tigers, heavy of coat and strong of limb. They were called saber-toothed because their two upper fangs were curved like a sword or saber. They were hunters who preyed upon those creatures that lived on the edge of the glaciers. They ate anything and everything that could catch. One of their favorite foods were the woolly mammoth. Now the mammoth may have been the tiger's favorite food, but it was also the most dangerous. For you see, the mammoths were just that, mammoth. They were big and had thick hides covered by long woolly coats. Some of them weighed over a ton and could easily step on a saber-toothed tiger. More importantly, if a mammoth was mad, its long curled tusks could be great weapons. The saber-toothed tigers contented themselves with snacking on the smaller creatures that lived on and around the blue ice glacier. Still, they looked for any opportunity to have a big woolly mammoth meal. They watched for the old and the injured, and a special delicacy, the baby mammoth. One blustered a blustery cold day, colder than most others, a baby saber-toothed tiger was born in a snow cave near the heart of a blue ice glacier. His coat was thick and he had two large eyes. For the most part, he looked like any other saber-toothed tiger, but he had two of the longest saber teeth that you have ever seen. Proudly, his mother and his father named him Fang. Coincidentally, not far away, in a snowfield on the other side of a blue ice glacier, a mother mammoth gave birth to a new calf. The calf's tusks, though tiny, showed great promise to curve and length. His ears and trunk were short, but that was to be accepted. The hair that covered his body was long and thick. Truly, this mammoth would be warm on the coldest of days. His parents named him Woolly. Life was very hard during this time of icy cold. There was danger everywhere on and around the glacier. There were deep crevices hidden by thin layers of delicate snow that formed false bridges. Should you choose to walk across one of these bridges, your choice could be very long. The bridge of snow could collapse and you would fall to the bottom of a deep crevasse with sheer walls of ice that could not be climbed. Fang and Woolly grew and although surrounded by danger and filled their lives with adventure. They were young and full of life. Every day was a new experience. And so they grew. Woolly would surge through the drifts of snow that blanketed the snowfields, exploding out on the other side. He played and played, but always under the watchful eyes of the entire always under the watchful eyes of the entire herd of mammoths. Fang lived inside the ice cave and only ventured out onto the slippery surface when his parents were there to watch over him. There he would scamper and skid, chasing after a ball of hard-packed snow or stalking the shadows of his parents as they walked the ridge. The saber-toothed tigers always looked towards the snowfield and the herd of mammoths. Food was scarce on the glaciers, and the thought of the meal below kept them on the prowl. They would crouch behind the boulders above the field and wait for an opportunity, a chance that never seemed to come. If it was possible, it seemed to be getting even colder around the blue ice glacier. Even the hardy grasses that grew beneath the snow had become scarce. The herd that moved the snow in the field from over the grass, and there was nothing left to eat. So it came to be that the mammoths had to move away from the glacier. They began a migration towards the south to find warmth and food. The glacier formed a mighty U around the surface. The fastest way to the south would force the mammoths to climb up and over a steep, narrow section of massive ice. Because of the cold and lack of food, it was a risk they had to take. Woolly, being the youngest, was placed in the middle of the herd. The snow was deep, but the mammoth's field trampled the snow into a packed path, making the going easy for Woolly. Together as one, they moved up from the snowfield and onto the blue ice glacier. As they started down the other side, they realized there was something watching from the ice cliffs above. The skin of the saber-toothed tiger was heavy in the air. The mammoths in the lead began swinging their massive tusks from side to side, all trumpeting a challenge to the hunters above. But food had been very scarce for the saber-toothed tigers, and they knew that their only source of food was migrating. With a roar that shattered the stillness of the day, they attacked. They leaped from the rocks, hoping to frighten the herd into scattering to make the weak more vulnerable. The weakest, the meal they sought, was in the middle. It was a small mammoth named Woolly. As the herd began to run, Woolly stumbling along, his ears extended in fear, the large cat surged, leaping onto the back of one of the older females at the back of the running herd. She bellowed in anger and pain, pulling from the safety on the herd. Woolly knew that voice. It was his mother. He turned toward the sound and ran out of the safety of the herd just as the group thundered across a snow bridge above a deep crevasse. Meanwhile, Woolly's mother, as strong as could be, shook and rolled her shoulders to free herself from the clinging beasts. But the tigers had teeth and claws buried in her thick hide, and they were not easily thrown. No one knows who would have won the battle between the tigers and the mammoth cow. At that moment, Woolly raced back up and packed Snow Trail, his tiny curved tusks raised for battle. The saber-toothed tigers had what they wanted. The weakest was not insulated from the herd. They leaped from the female's back and crouched facing the charging cow. Woolly's mother, not realizing what was happening, stood there dazed. Woolly continued his charge. The male saber-toothed tiger stood his ground and then slipped to the side, allowing Woolly to continue his charge toward the female cat. Now they had him trapped between the two of them. This would be an easy kill. The large female cat hissed and hunched her massive back, the coarse hair bristling. Her mouth was open wide, exploring the lower, razor-sharp teeth. her long fangs curved down from above, Wooly skidded to a stop. He turned to run, only to face the male, who was crouching behind, waiting to attack. Wooly was trapped. Fear overcame him, and he stood there frozen still. His trunk slipped back and forth in the snow, matching the angry snaps of the cat's tails. Then, just as all seemed lost, all was saved. The ice shook with the thundering feet of Wooly's mother. She had shaken off the pain of her wounds, and the attacked became the attacker. With their trunk, she grabbed the female saber-toothed tiger from behind and lifted her high into the air. Then, with a twist of her mighty head, she dashed the cat onto the ice. One thunderous step, and the tiger was there, dead. She quickly turned her attention to the larger male saber-toothed tiger, who had swung at Wooly with the massive clawed paw. Wooly had backed away just in time, but his side had been wrecked with the jagged claws. Wooly's mother lowered her massive, high-domed skull and charged. The saber-toothed tiger, focusing only on the meal at hand, never saw her coming. Her head smashed into his side just as he attempted to finish Wooly off, using all of her massive weight. She pressed down on the saber-toothed tiger, and instantly he, too, was dead, blood dripping down her side from the wounds on her back. She turned to see if there were more, but there was nothing there except for a small frightened mammoth calf. Time was running out. Urging Wooly to follow, she hurried back down the snow-packed trail to the narrow ice bridge across the crevasse. She started across, with Wooly following. The snow bridge, weakened by the hurt that had gone before, began to crumble. Chunks of snow and ice broke away as the bridge slowly collapsed. Wooly stepped at the last possible moment, stepping back onto the solid ice of the glacier. With a gasp, he wanted as his mother fell from the bridge into the seemingly bottomless chasm. His heart pounded, and large tears formed and froze in the corners of his eyes. His mother was gone. Worse than worse. He was trapped on the glacier, and the herd was on the other side, fading from view. He trumpeted a long, lonely tone that echoed down into the chasm, and then there was only silence. Wooly's call did not go unheard, for in an ice cave not far away, a young saber-toothed tiger first heard the blood call of his parents, and then last the hunting farewell from the young calf. Now the ending of this story is up to you. What happens next to these two young creatures trapped in isolation on the blue ice glacier? What do they do for food? What does Wooly do for shelter? Does the hunter become the hunted? Just how will it end? The author would like to know what you think and why.